Hello, fellow paranormalers. Here's a thing that I've been thinking, and I have actually been thinking about this for ever since I really started getting into spirit communication and EVPs and all that kind of thing. I mean, I can even remember as a teenager, there used to be a series of magazines that you could buy. That I can't even remember what they were called. They were probably called, Paranormal Mysteries or something along those lines. I can't really remember. We're talking about stuff that went back to the early 70s. So, something that kind of bugs me, and this is kind of it sort of makes me laugh. But ever since I first listened to my first EVP, and other people's as well around that time, of course we were using sort of reel to reel back then, and really old microphones and stuff like that. I mean, it was all very, very different. But there is just this little tiny ball of doubt that's always in the back of my head. And again, this has been prompted by another video that I did about apps, using apps in the paranormal and using, tablet technology or mobile phones and stuff like this. And I just, there's a thing that in the back of my head that just always, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing because it works well for me in a large part of my life. Is there's an element of me that just thinks this could all be a hoax, that one day, we're gonna turn around. Now, I think there's two parts to this. Okay, there's two parts to this. There's one part of me that, the more recent thing about these whole apps thing. My little doubt ball is quite large on that one, still very large. I'm not in denial about it. I have tried using it. I've done plenty of videos about apps and my feelings about apps and such like. There is, because I actually have read comments made by people who do software reverse engineering and such like, and analysis of software, and they've pretty much all of them have said, these things are entertainment only. The fact is that people get communication through them. I don't know. That comes to, I think personally, and I hope it doesn't. You see, that's the thing with me. I'm weighing things up. On the one hand, I'm thinking, I hope this doesn't, this bubble doesn't burst on this whole app things. But there's a bigger ball on the other side of the scales that says, one day I think we're going to have a bit of a revelation about the whole app scenario. That's just my gut feeling. I could be in the wrong, and in a way there's a part of me that says I hope I'm not wrong. But at the moment, at this point in time, having to try and use those apps, and they don't really work for me. None of them work for me at all. I don't know. Well, not saying that, not that any of them didn't work. I think in the very early days they did work. The very early apps, there was something about the very early apps that were being used. But this more, let's just say in the last year and a half, 2 years, I'm just not convinced. I think there's too much AI involved, and I think there's far too many, little black boxes lying around with unknown written on them, because, we don't know how these things are working, and we don't know the information that they're picking up and what it is they're really scanning it. We've only got people's word, and I don't like that. I don't like that. But yeah, okay, so that's the app thing out the way. So I've got big doubts about the app thing, and I'm just sitting back and waiting for the big bubble to burst, for there to be some kind of revelation, and people are going to be exposed, all these developers are going to be exposed for, you know, fraud and all that kind of thing. I don't know. It's just something about them that makes me think that, I'm afraid. Now, on the other side, okay, the other bit is the whole, you know, what is it that we're communicating with? And there's a large part of me, now the scale's around the other way for me, so there's a large part of me that knows that, you know, this technology, for a start, has been around a long time. And, you know, there's too many people that have got absolutely amazing responses and evidence. But, this is me again, there's a little ball of doubt about whether this is all a hoax. You know, and I say that in very, very broad terms. I don't think there's anyone out there that is purposefully transmitting radio waves randomly that, you know, that are being, you know, that we're all picking up on. But I don't know. You see, I don't really know. You know, again, I think the bubble is going to burst on the whole aliens thing, and I'm on the fence about that as well. You know, there's like a large part of doubt with me about the whole alien thing, and then there's another little bit of me that says, you know, this could be true. We don't really know, do we? There is no real hard evidence at all of aliens. I'm sorry, but there isn't. No matter what people like to say, you can video as much as you like with a bloody milk bottle video camera and call it paranormal or call it alien, but it just still isn't hard evidence to me, because the quality is crap. It's nearly always dubious about where it's come from and how it's been edited, you know. So as far as I'm concerned, a lot of these things are very, very dubious, very suspect. And so yeah, I mean, that's, you know, it's an interesting topic, but I'm kind of in two minds whether to even release this video. If I have and you are watching it, then you're quite privileged, because I'm really, again, that's part of me that's going like this: shall I, shan't I, shall I, shan't I? But yeah, I do sometimes wonder. And I don't know whether, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing to sometimes think about that, because then you're not quite so gullible about believing everything that's put in front of you, or believing everything that someone else is actually providing as evidence. You know, I'm a firm believer that if you get a cross-section of people across the globe all producing similar, if not the same, evidence, that's a big thumbs up for me. And, you know, using radio sweep technology is producing a lot of thumbs up for me. Apps, I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it. I don't really know. And whether the whole thing is a conspiracy, or whether it's going to be a bubble that's going to burst one time, or all of a sudden we're going to find, you know, some spaceship come out of the sky and say, you know, and then we find out that there's some spaceship on a planet somewhere that's been transmitting all of this stuff or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? You just have to think about these things. You know, the possibilities. It's an amazing thing, the human mind, what we make up and what we believe. But yeah, I don't discount it, but I don't 100% believe it either. If you know, if that makes any sense at all. That's where I am. Let me know where you are with any of this stuff. And of course, this kind of you know, what I've been talking about in this video doesn't just apply to paranormal. It can apply to pretty much anything in life, of course. You know, I mean, there's just so many things in life that I think you just have to weigh up. You have to weigh up to find out whether you really believe it or not. And you know, it is a bit of a conundrum. But yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again soon in another video.